Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny, and today we're going to talk about some sweet, just perfection news this week about Alibaba stock, something that both Dylan and I own. We've talked a lot about it on this channel. Finally, one of our predictions came true, potentially, for Alibaba stock. We'll
Yeah,
look at the charts at the end, too.
everyone take a look at the chart.
Two stupid guys trade stocks.
So, I got to say, we definitely have been saying this all along that we thought nothing was really going to come of this whole PCAOB accounting oversight thing, that there would not be any delisting of Chinese equities, but who knows? Okay, but positive step. I'm happy to hear that.
Big positive step, not minor step. Big positive step.
Yeah, I mean, first time in history kind of positive step, which
Yeah.
is, you can't be mad at that. But these are the kind of headlines you saw this week. The Chinese firms averting delisting risk because the U.S. watchdog gets full inspection access. All right. So to refresh everyone's memory, this kind of goes back here to the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act. It was an act passed by the U.S. Congress in 2020 and then signed into law by President Trump. Basically, this required any U.S. listed equity to adhere to the same kind of oversight that they would have if they were a U.S. company, right? And there's a couple of kind of caveats to it, but the main crux of this is that they have to have their auditors be audited by the PCAOB. All right, that's the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. And that's whose news was major this week, right? They came out, basically said that they were given full access to the Chinese companies to audit them. And, it was unprecedented, first time in history. Lots of cooperation went on there. Bravo to those people involved. And it's good for us Alibaba shareholders.
And obviously, if the Chinese government is willing to let this happen and all the companies are like, yes, please, obviously they're not really, I would assume, worried about what you're going to find. They just don't want to be delisted from the stock market because then they're going to lose a shit ton of funding.
Exactly. I did want to kind of mention that this isn't the only aspect of the whole Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act. There are other subsets here, particularly if you look at these lines on here. They have to, talk about the percentage of the shares owned by, a government. They have to talk about whether or not the Chinese Communist Party or any government has a controlling interest in the company, and whether or not the board members have like ties to the Chinese Communist Party. So there are still other hurdles here that would have to be overcome to completely avoid any sort of risk here. But the PCAOB was like the major kind of cooperative standpoint that needed a lot of time and effort and work to make it happen.
Right. Right.
So the article kind of continues here and just says, the PCAOB came out and they actually issued a statement saying that they had completed the work that they wanted to do in this initial round. They were given access back in August. They spent, I think it was 7 weeks, something like that, on the ground in Hong Kong. They audited two different firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is the auditor for Alibaba and Tencent, actually, and then the other one, it's KPMG, I think, is the initials, but I forget the exact name.
I don't know that one.
Um, yeah, I don't know either. It's not the one I'm paying attention to. So this is the real and beautiful quote here, talking about how for the first time in history we were able to perform a full and thorough inspections and investigations to root out potential problems and hold firms accountable to fix them. All right.
Yeah.
Very
Huge.
nice. Yeah, first time in history. That's pretty sexy. And you get in kind of responses that are along this lines of this Art Hogan comment here. It falls in the category of game-changing view of Chinese companies because the threat of delisting is it's been eliminated. I would say not eliminated, but substantially minimalized. Which
Yeah.
we never thought it was that large to begin with, but
I agree.
you
I was
know,
never like super worried about it. Now there's still a chance, right? In my mind,
yeah,
probably like 1% chance, but it's still a chance.
yeah, exactly. I think it's cooled down by a factor of 10, probably, at least, by getting this sort of thing kind of pushed through the works here. Unfortunately, it was not the best day on the market. We didn't get that huge pop, which is a mixed blessing. Dylan's going to look at the charts here in a second, but so I've been selling covered calls against my Alibaba shares, and I finally bought back one, and then just was going to let it ride for the month of December, thinking when this news came out, we might see a big pop. Never materialized. It was one of those buy the rumor, sell the news sort of scenarios, but the whole market was not having a great day. Cheers.
It would have materialized.
You know?
You want me to go to the chart?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can go to the chart now if you want. You can take a look at that.
So now this is, what's the date? 12/17. Okay. If you look on any chart, I'll just here, let's just do Apple, right? They're super strong. Everything is super, super down. Everything is down a significant amount. Doesn't matter what you type in. Bank of America. What
Yeah.
do we do?
Look for our market
Nvidia.
update video separately. And Dylan and I are going to talk about our bearish bets because we kind of saw this coming. I'm not going to lie. But we thought Alibaba would be the trend breaker.
Right.
The big news, the catalyst.
So essentially, they gapped up, fell all the way down, again, gapped up, fell down, but they're still in an uptrend. They are significantly, this is a much healthier chart than really any other chart. Well, some of the charts are pretty healthy, but a lot of Chinese stocks are a lot healthier than any other stock. This is actually kind of forming a little bit of a triangle here against this 200 moving average, which usually, if it goes through it, right? Always good. And here's what Vinny's talking about. Let me zoom out a little bit here. We get the news, unbelievable news. What is this? 88 to 93. So like a 7% increase in a matter of 15 minutes. And then the whole market just kind of took a shit. So it is what it is.
Even tried again the next day where it gapped up at the open and then kind of settled off throughout the rest of the day. Yeah. Now, I will tell you that like this is not all exactly like rainbows and kittens right here. Because if you read this line right here, the PCAOB staff identified numerous potential deficiencies in their inspection work. Okay, so that means they found problems, but what these problems are, they haven't said. They said this is not to be misconstrued as a clean bill of health. They did talk a little bit tough here. Okay, so maybe that's part of why it was more of a tepid response. But she declined to say what the types of deficiencies, and said they will have the full audit papers next year. Will be released, and we'll have an idea of what those deficiencies may or may not be. But it's not. It's reasonable that the first time they're doing this, they're going to have things they need to clarify and fix, and so I'm okay with that. But the fact that they did not obstruct and they had full access is huge.
And that line that you just highlighted for people that are just listening, it says they said that the deficiencies are in line with those audit inspectors have seen during first-time inspections everywhere. So it's not like a scary thing.
Exactly, yeah, and this is just kind of recapping the history how we got here. We already talked about that, and but it definitely solid to see that there is some progress being made. Our initial kind of thought as far as not being a significant delisting risk appears to be accurate, at least to this point in time in history. So we'll see if that continues to be the trend.
Yeah. Now, if the market goes down a lot more, which I think it does, and it drags Bob with it, it's much more attractive as a buy for just a little bit more for me. So we'll see.
Okay. Interesting.
Right.
Don't forget, Alibaba's buying billions of dollars per quarter right now in share repurchases. All right? Yeah. So the longer it stays down, the better, the bigger chunk of the company you'll end up owning at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I already have too much. It's already not balanced, but I might buy more. All right, guys.
Yeah, catch you next one.